September 26th City Council meeting to order. We have pledge of allegiance and invocation by Councilman Ledford.
We stand, big flag,
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks so much. We have a special presentation today by Councilwoman Coonrod, proclamation honoring Alan Burney Jr.
Thank you, Chair. And if I could get Mr. Alan Burney Jr. to come up, and if you want to bring your family members with you, you can. Now, for those that don't know, some months ago, it was a fire truck, not a fire truck, but a public works garbage truck that had caught on fire at the gas station. So it was an employee that was driving. She was able to get out safely due to the act of Mr. Alan Burney. He jumped out, ran to the rescue, got it extinguished out and everything. So he saved a life. And that life of the individual, she was my sister that worked for the city of Chattanooga. So I just wanted to extend my thanks personally here. The mayor did, honor him earlier on then, but once I found out about it, I was like, what do you mean? And it was during the time that, I got the news about my dad, and then to think that in the blink of an eye that my sister her life could have been taken by a faulty garbage truck, the things that hadn't been worked on. And so since then, we've got that fixed. And so we want to honor you tonight. So this proclamation says, whereas heroes emerge in times of crisis, demonstrating courage and selflessness that inspire us all. And whereas the safety and the well-being of our community is upheld by those who act swiftly and decisively to protect the lives of others. And whereas we gather today to honor an individual whose extraordinary actions have made a lasting impact. And whereas it is a privilege and an honor to recognize those who demonstrate exceptional heroism, such as Mr. Alan Burney Jr. And whereas Mr. Burney's swift action to extinguish a fire on one of the garbage trucks undoubtedly prevented a potentially catastrophic situation and saved the life of an employee. His ability to remain composed and act swiftly in the face of danger exemplifies the qualities that make him an outstanding individual. Whereas we commend Mr. Burney for his kind and compassionate nature, which shines through even in the face of adversity. His selflessness and dedication to the well-being of others reflect the spirit of unity that we hold dear in our community. Whereas we express our deepest gratitude to Mr. Alan Burney Jr. for his heroic actions and his commitment to ensuring the safety and welfare of those around him. His bravery serves as an inspiration to us all, reminding us of the power of swift action and a compassionate heart. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we, the Chattanooga City Council, do hereby recognize, honor, and commend Mr. Alan Burney Jr. for his exceptional heroism and unwavering commitment to the safety and security of our community. May his actions inspire us all to be vigilant, courageous, and selfless in adversity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to accept this award. That incident happened so fast. I just kind of glad that I was there at the time to assist. And I just thank everybody. Have a great rest of the day.
All right, thank you. Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Burney, if you have any interest in the Chattanooga Fire Department, they got their hand right there. So. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Councilman Ledford. And you all are, of course, welcome to stay for our entire meeting, or you're welcome to leave as well. So I didn't want you to feel like you were held hostage with us. Can I get approval on the minutes? Second, all right. We'll give y'all a second to leave out. Y'all a second to leave out. All right, we have ordinances under final reading. Legal, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance granting a franchise to Unity Fiber LLC for the purpose of allowing it to construct, install, and operate certain telecommunications wires and cabling within the public rights of way in order to provide telecommunications services within the city, setting forth conditions accompanying the grant of the franchise, providing for regulation and use of the system and the public rights of way in conjunction with the city's right-of-way ordinance, and prescribing penalties for the violations of the provisions herein.
Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilman Smith.
Move to approve on final reading.
Okay, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will second this. I just wanted to ask one question for clarification that I was thinking of since we had this item last week. It seems clear in here that we are allowing, it specifies wires and cabling within the public right-of-ways. Would there be any chance, Mr. Attorney, that, say they decided to erect some kind of antenna or other equipment within the right-of-way, would this allow them to do that as well, or is this purely for the cabling?
This is for the cabling. If there are some type of, I guess, small poles that would be on a light fixture, that is possible in connection with this, but that's it.
Existing poles only?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's a second, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you so much. It's been moved and properly second. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. If there's no objection from council, we can take items B, C, and D as a group. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Item B, an ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened right-of-way in the 7500 block of Overcup Oak Trail as detailed on the attached map subject to certain conditions. Item C, an ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened public right-of-way located in the 3400 block of Olds Avenue as detailed on the attached maps. Item D, an ordinance closing and abandoning an unopened right-of-way located in the 400 block of West 35th Street as detailed on the attached maps.
Followed by Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 items in your District 7 without objection. 1 item in District 4. I move to approve.
Thank you so much. Second. All right, thank you so much for the motion and the second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Ordinances on the first reading. Madam Clerk, item A.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 26, relative to the creation of the City of Chattanooga Parks and Outdoors Advisory Committee.
All right, Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I got a motion and second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Planning, item B.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone properties located at 1115 and 1117 East 14th Street and an unaddressed property in the 1100 block of East 14th Street from R3 residential zone and RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone with conditions to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone subject to certain conditions.
All right, is the applicant present? I have an applicant. Is any opposition present? Okay, Councilwoman O.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Mr. Brown, it is so glad to see you. Praise ye the Lord. Took an act of Congress to get you here though, didn't it? Okay, grateful. So, Mr. Brown and I had a conversation, so he is aware of the fact that it cannot be used as short-term vacation rentals. And he is in agreement with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So, Madam Chair, with that being said, I'll make a motion to move to approve. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item C.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 21, Section 2162 municipal lien for cost collection of liens.
Okay, council, you've heard the reading.
Move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion and proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not opposed.
Councilwoman-
I have a question. I had
Councilwoman Coon-Ross.
emailed us earlier to see when we can get, the city court clerk, Anthony Byrd, to come and just give us an update on the city court. I mean, we can move this forward, but I still would like for him to come give us an update around city court.
Oh, okay, a city court update. All right, thank you so much. I had a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Resolutions under council office, item A.
A resolution to amend Resolution Number 31664, authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a beneficiary agreement with First Baptist Cares to serve as the fiduciary agent for the Lighthouse Collective for an amount not to exceed $10,000.
Okay, council, you've heard the reading. Is there a motion? Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item B.
A resolution approving an amendment to the Economic Impact Plan for the development of North River Commerce Center Industrial Park and the redevelopment of North Access Road.
All right, Councilman Smith, followed by Councilman Ledford.
Move approval. Second.
All right, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, items C and D, if there's no objection from council. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Item C, a resolution authorizing a new 3-year blanket purchase agreement with Insight Public Sector using the Omnia Partners Contract Number 23669203 for software purchases, software renewals, hosted solutions, maintenance, and support services for an amount not to exceed $300,000 per year. Item D, a resolution authorizing a new 3-year blanket purchase agreement with OpenGov, replacing blanket 559045 for software application, hosted solutions, maintenance, and support services for permitting application used by the Land Development Office not to exceed a 3-year total of $504,144.66 as outlined in the reference resolution.
Okay, Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item C and D, move to approve. Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item E.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to award contract number Y23003-201 Brown Acres Golf Cart Path Paving to Kane Industries LLC of Chattanooga, Tennessee in the amount of $94,087.58 with a contingency in the amount of $4,061.30 for a total amount of $98,148.08.
All right, Councilwoman Byrd.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned and properly second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Madam Clerk, item F.
A resolution authorizing the administrator for the wastewater department to authorize change order number 2 for professional services provided by Jacobs Engineering, Inc. for the MBWWTP Equalization Basin and Blower Replacement Improvements Project, contract number W160222101, in the amount of $815,106.50.
Okay, I have a motion and a proper second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Now it's time for purchases.
Good evening, council. We have 5 purchases this evening, the first of which the department is requesting to withdraw. I'll read this purchase first and then read the remaining 4 purchases which are recommended for approval. The first, withdraw, the purchase for street maintenance, Forestry Division of Public Works. These were to be 2 new blanket contracts for tree removal, storm cleanup, and trimming services. These would be 4-year agreements not to exceed $175,000 per year. The award, as listed on your sheet, would have gone to Lumberjacks Tree Service and Tree Works LLC as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. Again, the department asked to withdraw at this time, and we'll bring these back to the council as soon as they're ready.
All right, council.
Will we need to defer that officially?
Are you wanting to defer to a specific time or just withdraw?
Let's withdraw for right now, yeah.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and properly second to withdraw the first purchase. Any comments or questions? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes.
All right, the remaining 4 purchases are recommended for approval. The first is from the Purchasing Department and the Facilities Division of Public Works. These are 2 new blanket contracts for paper goods citywide. They will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $80,000 per year. The award will go to American Paper and Twine Company and Jacobs Paper Company as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. Central Polybag Corporation and the Stockroom Supply Company were not considered for an award due to not bidding all lines. The second is from the Department of Technology Services. This is a new 1-year blanket agreement with 3 1-year extensions based on availability of funds not to exceed $417,379.77 annually for leasing laptops and accessories for the Chattanooga Police Department. This agreement is with Dell Financial Services utilizing the Wilson County Board of Education Contract 51AHO. The next is from the Department of Technology Services. This is a 6-month encumbrance for Robert Half to provide services for an ERP integration manager not to exceed $95,000. This position supports internal Oracle applications across the city. This purchase will utilize the Houston-Galveston Area Council contract number TS06-21. And the fourth and final purchase is from the Chattanooga Fire Department for a one-time purchase of replacement rescue tools in the amount of $126,985 for use by the Chattanooga Fire Department. This purchase will utilize Sourcewell RFP number 040220 Rev 4.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. All right, council, we come to committee reports. Councilman Taylor. Committee report on the west side here. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Dole. No report. Councilwoman Byrd. No report, ma'am. Councilman Houston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will have a public safety committee meeting to discuss the changes to our park on October the 10th at a new time, which will begin, well, the agenda session will begin at 1, so immediately following agenda.
All right, thank you so much, Councilman Henderson. Councilman Smith.
No report, Madam Chair.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Planning and Zoning will meet on October the 3rd, and I'd like to welcome again Mr. Dooley to our chambers. Good to see you, Jackson.
Welcome. Councilman Hester.
No report.
All right, Madam Vice Chair.
Next week, we are going to have a work session about affordable housing. Nicole has provided the council with, I believe, all 3 documents, and there are quite a lot of pages. So spend some time with them in the next week, so we'll be ready to really dig in next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Now comes time for those wishing to address the council. Our city attorney will read our rules, and if you plan to address us, please line up behind this podium.
At the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council, and here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized up front at the microphone provided for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority, and not upon matters that are not under the authority of the council or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. And you can't use any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments towards individual council members. And don't engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited under Tennessee law. And someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. As promised, I'm going to read to you where the City Police Department failed in its effort of judge shopping in 2009-2010. Tennessee Wildlife Research Agency failed in its effort to prove that Monty Bell was guilty of any charge. What I found, by the way, 7,000 people have received and read Monty Bell's The Bell Tolls for Thee. It's about the judge shopping case, 2009-2010. Don't know how many of that number are registered voters, but we're going to find out. They like what they're reading. Because of the time restraint in the Circuit Court of Hamilton County, Tennessee, and this is going to go along with the contract that you all engaged in on July the 1st. Oh, it's going to be a doozy. This is a motion from the Attorney Tidwell in the judge shopping hearings. Let's read it real quick. Motion to extend time within which to answer Monty Bell's complaint. Comes now defendant W. Gerald Tidwell Jr. and moves this honorable court to enter an order extending the time to file a responsive pleading 30 days after I'm 30 days late. There's no way. Not only that, the conflict of interest, the nepotism. I'm dealing with nepotism with 2 families primarily, the Tidwell family and the Garth family, a white family and a black family. When I went to the courts to get my court filings, when Councilman Byrd, the clownsman, wanted to recharge me with a 30-year-old charge, you all do know Gwen Tidwell, the wife, or she's not his wife, or she's his wife, or she's not his wife, of W. Gerald Tidwell, that's a conflict of interest. Don Poole tried me on December the 14th. This is why you all could not defeat Monty Bell. When you read the paper, and we're going to read it, it's in the book, January 7th, you all were charged with engaging in judge shopping. All of you. And you're still doing it. That's what happened with this appointment with your police chief. That's why when Cody was up there being sworn in, you all were having me arrested by a Jenny Parker, who doesn't exist in the city and the county or the state unless she's under Nelson, McMahon, Parker, and Noblin. That's your old firm, Mr. Attorney. $211 billion, $34 million for the fraud. The last page is about these young people who are going to receive a substantial amount of money because of you all failing them in the educational system. I sued the city. We're getting ready to get the county. These kids been in need of this money, and all of this junk you all have is void.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Good evening. For the third time, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, you may remember me from twice before presenting a legitimate complaint about the excessive noise from the practice gunfire range across the river from 4 residential towers.
And I'm sorry, could you state your name?
I returned to share some good news.
Could you state your name and district number?
It's Benjamin Bell, and you're my rep. First, I want to share some good news and some bad news. First, the good. Thank you to CPD and the powers that be for ceasing the loud ricochets of gunfire before sunrise and after sunset for the most part. That is incremental progress and is duly noted. Unfortunately, there is still disturbing and unnecessary noisy gunfire being generated way too frequently. Here's a new and specific request. Could we please eliminate or at least limit the extremely loud and extremely superfluous semi-automatic rifles popping off? It is literally impossible to justify practicing a weapon of war in our fair city. Perhaps some CPD or whomever trigger-happy law enforcement need to consider a career in the military overseas rather than being a domestic peace officer. You would have our community's full support to go use the semi-automatics in defending democracy globally. Our citizens' petition is growing in numbers. I have this again to show you. We are just, please y'all, have some compassion for some of us that served our country honorably overseas and returned with bipolar depression, PTSD, anxiety attacks, or other forms of mental health ailment. Is it really that unreasonable for your fellow citizens to ask for more peace and quiet? Thank you for your time and attention regarding this delicate, nuanced, and significant issue. I remind you as before, the sacred text does not say, "Blessed are the noisemakers." It says, "Blessed are the peacemakers." May we please reserve the last 40 or 50 seconds to silently meditate on how each one of us can increase the peace. Thank you. In the last 8 seconds, I'd like to introduce my friend Wanda from Overlook that also wants to speak on an issue. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I want to speak on the issue of housing. I have seen the plans for the proposed future of the West Side, but it does not include the Overlook building. We would like to know, the residents, where are we in the future plans? Where are we going? We have no housing. there is limited housing because the city doesn't have any money. But if you don't have $100,000 to $200,000, do not move to Chattanooga. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, council, I don't see anyone else wishing to address the council. Okay,